StarCast is proudly sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. If you use the code StarCast or Biscuit at checkout, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse system. And also TweakedAudio.com. Go to TweakedAudio.com for high-performance noise-reducing earbuds. Use our code StarCast and get 30% off plus free shipping on your entire order. And finally, SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com. Daily quotes from the StarCraft 2 community. The site may suck, but the quotes are sick. And make sure to go check out their t-shirts in their new store. Once again, that's SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com, and we thank them for their support. Sponsor an episode of StarCast at thestarcast.com.
Hell, it's about damn time for StarCast.
Incoming transmission.
Biscuit.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 153rd episode of StarCast, the StarCraft podcast. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and with me, as always, is Kyle Ferguson.
Ooh, that was James Bondy, except for
You
reverse.
said it would have been Ferguson. Kyle
Yes.
Ferguson.
I liked it all the same.
I'm
How
going
you doing,
to
Garrett?
refer to you as Ferguson for the rest of the night, like an angry police chief from a buddy cop film.
Hey, Ferguson, get your ass in here. It works. It works. Has a nice Scottish twang to it.
Yeah, why not? Turn in
Son
your
of-
gun and your badge right now.
Well, we turned in our Skype badge tonight.
Yeah. All right, podcast audience, let's show you a peek behind the curtain real quick. We spent the last 20. We are 20 minutes late recording the show right now, and it's because Kyle sounded like he was calling in from inside someone's butthole, and we couldn't fix it. Didn't know what was going on. Yeah, and so we're trying a Google Hangout, which is going to be a lot more work for me to get the podcast thing up and running, or a lot more work for noobing our our volunteer dance peons. Yeah. So we're trying. We're like, well, why don't we just try Google Hangout? And Kyle is in high HD and sounds like an angel. So proof that Skype is a flaming piece of shit.
I don't know. I mean, they're just so ready for us to be in our living rooms. It can't possibly work here in my study.
Oh my god. Can we defer StarCraft talk for the beginning of the show and talk
Sure.
about how absurdly awful the Xbox reveal was?
To be fair, just about every reveal I've seen in the past 3 years has been horrible on stage.
Yeah, well, we haven't had a console reveal in the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So this seemed like it should be a little more hype.
And the PlayStation one was good. Which is funny because I'm not a Sony fan by any stretch.
No, they kept things moving, though. I felt like the Xbox One really circled back on itself over and over again. TV.
Yeah. All I got from it was TV, sports, and dogs.
Yeah, yes, there will be a dog, and everyone thinks he's going to die.
Oh, of course he's going to die.
Yeah,
We're making a story that the first time in the history of Call of Duty, you're really going to have an emotional attachment to the characters in this game. And there's going to be a dog, and it's got a tattoo in his ear. And the whole time I'm sitting like, this is going to be Call of Duty Old Yeller. You're going to have, like, dogs and die at the end. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
And I could have sworn back when it was a computer game only that I was emotionally attached back then.
I mean, honestly, Call of Duty kind of made its mark as being a very visceral experience.
Yeah.
Granted, they really didn't do characters, I think, until, well, Modern Warfare.
Not really. I mean, the original one, you had multiple storylines, and they kind of intertwined, and people were always yelling at you. I remember playing it for the first time, and they gave you a first name, and they kept, I don't remember what it was, but it was like, Johnson. I'm like, damn it, Johnson, go over there. They keep yelling for you. Oh, I'm Johnson. Oh, crap. Gotta move on.
You're a terrible soldier virtually as well as in real life.
But that was also the time when you had Call of Duty and, like, Battlefield 1942. Like, so many games of the same genre bargaining for your attention.
Well, it really hasn't changed. We've still got Battlefield and Call of Duty and other games that I don't pay attention to.
But we're going to see what E3 has. I mean, they could honestly be holding off all the video game talk for then in this new day and age. I mean, my parents bought a PlayStation 3 just as a Blu-ray player.
That's the only reason I own one. Now it has become the console I play the most because my Xbox is damn near broken. But
that seems to be a pretty common story.
Originally, it was the last console I got, and it was only so I could have a Blu-ray player. So
yeah, I mean, I got it for the exclusive titles on it. Well, God of War, really, and there aren't really any other exclusive
Uncharted.
titles. Uncharted was pretty good, yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus for the PS2, and if that Guardian game ever actually freaking comes out for the PS3.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, exactly. I love the Uncharted series, but yeah, same thing with me, but for the Xbox. I'm a Halo fanatic. I've got to have my Halo.
The real awful thing is all of us who have been through a console war already are just going to have to sit through another one, and we don't care. Honestly, who cares?
Eventually, I want to have them both.
You know who really cares? People who still get Christmas presents.
Yeah, which I do still get Christmas presents, but I don't think I don't think my parents are going to give me a console and write from Santa on it anymore.
Exactly.
I don't think that's how this works. Maybe if I promise them a YouTube-worthy N64 kid style reaction at the ripe old age of 26, maybe then.
Yes, but until then, it'll have to just be our money, and it'll be a very long, calculated decision that we choose to make, if one at all. I mean, I am a computer gamer. I prefer sitting at this desk with a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. How do you feel about consoles in general right now? I feel like, for me personally, my gaming life has really changed because I used to be like strictly console, and I would just get so stoked and zealot like about my consoles. And now not so much. I'm like, well, I've got a really good gaming PC. I mean, and we do a show about our favorite game, which is a PC game, and it will always be a PC game.
If you really want something, you're an adult now. You can calculate it. You can take the risk and go buy it. When you're a kid, you picked a console for Christmas, and damn it, that was the one you were stuck with for 4 or 5 years. Yep. The great thing about consoles, though, growing up, is that you never have to upgrade them or think, man, can I really get this game? Because I don't know if my console can handle it.
Exactly. There's a gray area where ports are bad, but...
Yes, but for me, consoles are completely 100% for the peace of mind you have in your video games. Everything you buy for it will work on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. And that's what I've been laughing at a lot of the feedback about the Xbox and the PlayStation 4. It's like, oh man, those look great for PCs 5 years ago. Just like, yeah, but it's not the same. Like, having a closed system does so much for the development of a game. Like, it just makes it so much easier. You know exactly what you're getting. I mean, that's why Apple is so absurd about having we control everything. You can't replace the battery in your frickin' iPhone.
Yeah,
because they want to have that much control.
Well, and building a computer is pretty scary. I know when I've had to put in my processor, one of the most expensive pieces, you have to work at it. And that heatsink does not want to go on.
You got to get that gel on there just right. And
you got to crank this thing. And you just spent hundreds of dollars on this equipment, and you are actually jamming it in. And
you're brute forcing it into the motherboard.
And then at one point, I did it wrong, and every single one of those little thingies, the little pointy things that go in the receiver for my processor, bent. And I had to sit there with needle nose pliers, and I actually bent all of them straight, and it worked. It's amazing how resilient a computer actually is, but it's a frightening process.
Oh, it's horrifying. It's like if you muck up a processor, that was half of your computer budget out the window.
Personally, I grew up playing video games by myself, and many of them are competitive. So I don't understand the whole always on or why I would want to even talk aloud to the people I'm playing video games with most of the time.
Yeah, to a point. I was when they, it's not always on, it has to check in once every 24 hours with the server, but Yeah, when I first heard that, I was just like, man, I don't like that. I don't, and I still don't like it. But at the same time, I'm thinking about, well, it really doesn't affect me because I am always online. So
Yeah, but there's a point where it's a convenience. Like,
right.
there's companies I trust, like Blizzard. That's always on. I don't care. StarCraft, I'm always going to be playing online anyways against people. Diablo, that doesn't bother me because I know the game is always being backed up. It's mine. I can download it whenever I want. It'll be a working copy. Sure, there's like maintenance and stuff like that, but you're still putting in a disc. Seems odd.
Yeah, well, it really is just a delivery mechanism at this point because you're going to be installing the game onto the hard drive. I mean, they come stock with a 500 gigabyte hard drive.
And isn't that weird how, I mean, I got the collector's edition of Heart of the Swarm, and it took longer to install the game than it probably would have to download it, and Blizzard games now install as they download.
Do they?
Yeah, same with Steam games, actually.
Oh, that's badass. Well, I noticed the Steam. I didn't notice that StarCraft. Okay. All right,
I mean,
I'll give you that.
One of the coolest experiences I had was I played StarCraft when I, just wiped my computer clean. I started playing StarCraft when it was at the yellow, like mid-bar. There was no music, all the textures were gone, and in the middle of a game, the music turned on. And then the textures came on, and the water effects started, and just all these things, like the physics. And it was really cool to see just the layers get piled on.
That's really neat, yeah. It depends on the game, too, because something with, like, World of Warcraft, it is still faster to install that sucker from a disk and then patch it.
Yes,
that thing is huge.
Well, it's massive.
It's over 40 gigabytes at this point, I think. The game is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, dear God.
And there are games with less gigs that can't be optimized.
Yep.
It's a weird world we live in.
Indeed. So, anyways, I don't know. Like, are you leaning towards any of the consoles? Like, are you like, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting a Wii U or I'm getting a PS4.
I've really enjoyed my PS3. I think when I bought my PS3, I was a little mad at Xbox for not allowing me to move over all my old Xbox original games. So I didn't want to get a 360.
The PS3 doesn't. Oh, the original PS3 did. So you paid $600 for a PS3?
No. I got it late. I would
okay.
say 2 years in. So it was about $380 at the time.
Okay, so that was the redesign. That was before the redesign because I have the redesigned version, which doesn't have backwards compatibility.
No, and mine doesn't either. But I didn't own a PlayStation before, so everything I got was new.
Oh, gotcha. Because some of the original Xbox games do work on 360.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about like I had piles and piles of games. Most of them are now gone to, I mean, because I got them while I was in high school and college, and a lot of those got traded out to GameStop.
Okay.
So I don't even have all the games I used to own, but I mean, I had tons.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I did a big purge after college right before I moved. I'm like, I'm just going to trade all these in, and oh look, I've got enough for one game.
Yep. Well, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I think I got Gears of War, if I remember. Gears of War 2 had just come out. But anyways, that's that. I'll probably still end up getting the Xbox because I need Halo. I don't know. I'm not sure. And I know there's no way that's coming to PlayStation.
I'm going to give it a while. I mean, unless I see something that truly blows my mind. Mm-hmm. And something like God of War, that story's complete for me. I don't need a prequel. I don't need a sequel.
They just came out with another one.
I know, and that was a prequel. So you're going back to make more. Maybe if he was like, I'm breaking out and I'm going to go destroy Egyptian gods, then I'd be like, whoa, take my money. That's awesome.
Why haven't they done that yet?
Let's beat up Anubis.
So before you know it, Kratos will just be a new playable deity in Smite.
That'd be awesome.
I don't think that art style really matches, but yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'd be all for it. And then we get an Ares skin that looks like Ares from God of War. And,
yeah,
it's all.
I mean, like Killzone, some of Uncharted. It's a tempting game, but I really feel like Uncharted is more of a. I could get the same excitement moving through an art museum of like landscapes with an action figure and going, whoa, off top of the mountain, avalanche.
I think you'd really like Uncharted though, because you're such a big Indiana Jones fan. You should actually try it.
Oh, and I really love 2. And like it even had like monsters and some sci-fi elements to it. Mm-hmm. But there's a formula there.
Yeah.
And it's so clear that they build the sets first and then decide what the gameplay is going to be.
Yep.
That game's all about the sets.
Oh, it is. It is. But I don't care. I love them. Anyways, shall we talk some StarCraft?
Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. It is in case you haven't noticed, we're kind of stretching for time. We're just letting whatever we feel like talking about flow because it was a dry news week.
Yeah.
If you were to go on the StarCraft Reddit right now, you would think that pizza was the most amazing thing to ever happen to StarCraft. That's
Apparently,
how interesting this week has been.
To be fair, though, we have a huge explosion of games and finals this weekend.
Yes. The games had not slowed down at all. But in terms of like community news or any changes happening to StarCraft proper, non-existent.
Which makes sense, but then again, I mean, last week we reported all the finals that are happening this coming weekend.
Yes, exactly. So, anyways, I guess we'll kick off talking about SHOUTcraft America, which just wrapped up. Mostly because Total Biscuit made a post on Team Liquid today that is just an epic peek behind the scenes of what goes into making a tournament.
Yeah, and he's done this in the past and been very open about how much things cost to do and how much work went into them and how much money he actually lost making this program.
Yeah, indeed. So I find this stuff very interesting, and I realize Total Biscuit is a polarizing figure for some, but I like how blunt he is. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, you got to respect that. And there's a lot of some of the bigger names in esports are really kind of trying to keep the magic of everything hidden.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real nice for him to just break that down and be like, look, this stuff costs money to produce. Because otherwise we're all sitting there going, well, why don't you just make this? Why don't you just hire them?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be amazing if like big time like cable broadcasted sport events did this? Like like the NFL is just like, well, the Super Bowl cost this much to produce, but we actually made like $2 billion in profit. So
yeah, but they don't even come out with like post Super Bowl graphics showing the number of watch. I mean, I'm sure they do in like their boardrooms for them all to, you know.
Oh, they do ratings every year. They show the ratings.
Yeah, but it's a little like, let's all clink glasses and bathe in money. It's not for growth. Like what MLG puts out, those are for growth and to impress people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's great. We're obviously we're still at an early enough stage where we really need that kind of information, and it's interesting, and it makes us want to work harder to help it grow. So anyway, SHOUTcraft is a series of tournaments that Total Biscuit organizes, and so yeah, he gave this big postmortem on Team Liquid. If you're watching live, you can see the post right there. You should go check it out. If podcast listeners, it's the title is SHOUTcraft America Postmortem, posted by Total Biscuit. I highly recommend going and checking this out because we're going to just comment on a few of the things that interested us. But it's really long, really well written, and a good read. So go check it out if you're interested into what really goes into a tournament. But Total Biscuit kind of goes through his thought process of putting together SHOUTcraft America, which he says this was particularly more challenging than the last few SHOUTcrafts that they did because they were invitational tournaments. And he said, to put it bluntly, that creating invitational tournaments is easy. That you can handpick a small group of players that will bring eyeballs.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. And then he goes on to talk about the trials and tribulations they had with this particular event. He said that this particular one was, without question, I'm quoting him, the most technically disastrous event that they've ever done.
Yep. Well, so he's doing a little bit of cleanup duty as well here.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it was still very successful despite the downfalls, and he says that the cause of it being disastrous is the two key factors. He said was excessive downtime and an uncomfortable viewer experience. It goes on to call out Time Warner Cable by name, which you should see if that's not your provider, is it?
No.
Okay. I'm about to say, well, then we're having a similar problem. Although I think it's Skype. It just comes down to Skype. But yeah, saying that Time Warner Cable was just, again, to quote, grossly incapable of handling even reasonable uptime requirements. So that was sad to hear. And then I was really geeking out reading this because they were talking about different programs they use to run it, and they use XSplit. I'm surprised because I'm just like, oh, Total Biscuit's putting on a tournament. They probably have like a TriCaster or something. They probably rented it for the weekend, but nope. No, they're operating on a shoestring budget compared to what we're, like an MLG or something, apparently. And they're using just XSplit. And damn, I am more than aware how aggravating that program can be.
Yeah, well, and you're dealing with uncontrolled situations. I mean, if you've been to an MLG and you walk in the back there, first of all, if you walk in the back, you're probably somewhere you shouldn't be. And everyone's hanging out, having a smoke. You're like, oh, crap, there's the casters. That's awesome. But they have this giant freaking satellite back there, and it's awesome. But MLG rented that because if anything goes bad, it isn't their fault, and they've got a whole team of people there to take care of it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's not the only. I'm sure they didn't rent it just so they could blame. the
also
satellite
because
truck.
they need it.
They need it, but yeah. But the cool thing is he went on to say that it actually did really well considering all of the issues they had, and that they had a roster of lesser known players, longer format, and a ton of technical problems. And the funny part was, and this is the thing I think is cool, is he admits that my whole idea for doing SHOUTcraft America was to kind of play off of the animosity that was being shot at in the direction of WCS America, where we have literally no American players currently in it. And apparently they went on to beat WCS's numbers, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah, on that day it was 10,000, and they ended up beating that.
Yeah, they exceeded their numbers by 10,000 concurrents on their good days. So there was a 10,000 viewer difference between WCS America and SHOUTcraft America.
Damn.
So that's pretty badass.
Yeah, I was sitting watching WCS America last night with 23,000 other people.
Oh, nice. But yeah, he said that they got in the upper 40,000s at their peak. They were aiming for 50,000. Apparently, DJ Wheat threw down the gauntlet and said, that's what it's going to do. So, I'm looking forward to talking to him about that next week, actually.
Yeah, we are having him on next week.
Oh, yes. Yeah, if you didn't hear last week, DJ Wheat will be on our 154th episode next week. So head on over to the StarCast forums at thestarcast.com/forum. We're taking questions for him. So we're going to do one of our interviews at the top, and I think he's hanging around for the whole episode. We'll probably talk the weekly news and stuff, too, with him.
Well, we have some finals, too, to geek out on.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait.
You got your throne ready, your church all built?
Yes. I don't think I'm going to need it, honestly. I don't think any prayers will need to be said for Mr. Innovation, but we'll get to that later. Don't get me off topic.
All right.
And then I also think the cool thing is that he said, despite the fact that he is targeting Blizzard, that he wanted to pay them a compliment because he said that so far they've been cooperating with SHOUTcraft America. And he said, to quote him, that they show signs of continuing to do so.
Yeah, well, they had it posted on their main site as well.
Yeah. So obviously doing the right thing.
Yep.
I wish I could just peek behind the curtain though, and just wonder if there were some people at Blizzard who were just got more viewers. This sucks.
Oh, sure. I mean, everyone suffers from jealousy. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a dartboard with every other MMO that's come and gone. Because you got to be like, oh, come on, guys. Oh, that's our technology. What are you doing with that?
Yeah.
We invented you.
Well, it's funny. That's funny you mentioned that, because it seems like every time a big MMO comes out, that Blizzard always makes a blog post that's like, yeah, we're playing it. It's fun. We're getting ideas.
Yeah,
they openly admit that they're like, dude, we play other MMOs. So. Well,
and they probably have, I would assume, the pretty big sore spot still from losing Dota. giving it away.
How did they not capitalize on that, dude?
It was just a mod, and someone was going to give it the time that they didn't have at the moment.
That is... Oh my god. Do you think there's a sort... I don't think there's a bigger thorn in their side.
Right now, probably not.
God, they gotta just look at that and just be like, what, why?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the other stuff can be like, you're pioneers, like WCS last year. That's definitely a sore spot, I'm sure.
Yeah, the games are still good. That's funny. You think every custom map that gets even remotely popular on the StarCraft arcade, they immediately like red flag it, like, all right, let's keep an eye on this one, guys. Don't let this one get out of hand.
Competitive Desert Strike. Let's do it, guys. Let's really take this and make it stone game.
They've got their finger over the email that's offering the creator money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come work for us. They're gonna do the Valve thing. Like, hire him quickly. Oh man, that's funny. Oh, that's good. So, yeah, it's SHOUTcraft America thing. This is really neat. I hope Total Biscuit continues to do these because it's cool to see all the inner workings.
Yeah, the tweets over the past 2 days haven't been so positive for its future, though.
You know, that's a shame. I haven't been keeping up on them. What were they saying?
Just that, due to feedback or due to certain situations, we don't think we'll be making this a series. So nothing official yet. And things have been going well. And, I mean, to get those viewers, despite all those problems, clearly you're sitting on a win. You just need to work out some kinks.
Yeah. So, cool. Good. Again, go check out the full post over on TeamLiquid.net. I just wanted to make a quick note here before we move on that Kennigit is leaving Team Liquid for ESL, or has left. And if you don't remember, he was a guest on our show quite a while ago, but he was a member of the TL staff for a long time, and actually a big help to our show. Like, but kind of an unsung hero. He always helped me out anytime I was stupid and forgot to post the show on the Team Liquid calendar. I was like, hey, Kennigit, man, can you kind of like fast forward this through the approval process since we're going live in an hour? And he'd be like, oh yeah, sure, man, we can throw that in there. So I just wanted to say congrats to him on air because he's awesome. He was a great guest when we had him on. I hope to get him on in the future and talk about what he's doing with ESL now, because now ESL is putting on WCS, so he's working with WCS Europe, and that's just damn freaking cool. So.
He's also going to be working with Raid Call for their Dota. It's a big promotion, from, I don't think he puts a date on here, but he talks about, fondly the days of a 240p stream and how he would report on it on this very website, Team Liquid, making forum posts before he became a moderator and moved up the forum ladder, as it were.
Yep.
So it's real cool to see someone like that get an awesome job, and congrats to him.
Indeed. So, congrats, Kennigit. Very cool for him. Moving on. All right. So, like I said, if you were to go to Reddit this week or Twitter and you follow a lot of StarCraft personalities, you would think that pizza was the handle of the best player in the world or something.
Yeah. It seemed to explode out of nowhere.
What the hell?
That's how you're going to lead into this.
Just what the hell?
Okay, well, if you missed this completely, if you weren't following Twitter for one, and just an explosion of tweets about PIZZAGG, basically Papa John's decided to give a test run with an esports audience and allowed them to get 50% off on pizzas that they got with the code PIZZAGG. And you would go to their website. They had tiers of progress, so if you ordered enough pizza, these tiers would fill up.
Well, it's still going.
Well, it's already filled up. So, I mean, you can still use the code, but it's already gotten enough pizzas to earn the maximum tier, which was 10.
Gotcha.
And you could select, like, who you wanted to support or kind of who sent you there. You got, I mean, most of this, you got Evil Geniuses taking up about 8 of these 15 slots. Mm-hmm. 2 Dota ones, 1 League of Legends one, Team Liquid, DJ Wheat, and Evil Geniuses World of Warcraft team. Clearly, Evil Geniuses was heavy in on this. Root Gaming got a single button.
They got 2. They had a Smite one. So Smite was represented, which I'm glad to see. That game needs more. That game needs more publicity. I love that game. But yeah, I was seriously on the verge of unfollowing a bunch of people because every time I go to my damn Twitter feed, people are like, "Thanks, so and so. I got a 50% off pizza using Pizza GG." I'm just it's an overload. I'm really, really freaking sick of this. I like pizza and I love cheap pizza, but holy shit, I don't care.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's see. Nerds. They're not the best in public all the time. And nerds who win are most likely very calculating, cold people in esports. So the tweets weren't exactly personable. They were, yeah, who wants pizza? Pizza GG. And everyone who supported it clearly was, wanting Papa John's to realize that esports is a market that they should be into.
Mm-hmm.
What made it interesting, however, is that there was quite a bit of backlash to it.
There was.
And for that, I'm pretty proud of our community.
Wait, what? How are you going to spin this incredibly terrible story into something interesting?
Well, Total Biscuit, again, I mean, he seems to have written half our show this week, but Total Biscuit was more than happy to point out that during the recent election, it was brought to the attention that Papa John's did not want Obamacare to be getting out. We're not going to talk about that here. But basically that Papa John's should not be supported because of their political stances. Also, lots of people decided to call them out for having bad pizza.
Can you? Their pizza's actually not too shabby in my opinion.
I mean, it's not like CC's. It's doable, but it's not primo.
Saying it's not CC's like saying, well, they don't put cheese on cardboard and call it pizza. But CC's also wins for unlimited cinnamon buns. So,
I mean, I think Papa John's is okay. It's pretty much the staple at any sort of like high school dance.
Yeah, Can you really get on a company for that kind of political stance? Though you literally in an election have 2 choices. You didn't choose the choice I liked. I'm never going to use your stuff again. Now it's one thing if they came out and they're like, I support the Nazi Party, but they're I don't know.
Yeah, but the CEO has had quite a bit of scandal around him.
Has he?
Yeah,
he's right wing. Whoop-de-damn-do.
It struck a chord with a lot of people when he said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this Obamacare. I mean, if I have to pay everyone's health care, I'm going to have to increase the price of pizza. I mean, I'm not cutting into my profits.
He's trying to make a off-the-cuff, somewhat humorous analogy to what he does for a living.
Making pizza?
Yeah.
Well, either way, I mean, regardless of your political affiliations, it was still cool that the community was thoughtful about what kind of advertisers they want in the future. And in fact, it started, various people thinking, and in fact, PC Gamer, or PC Games here, not PC Gamer, dyslexic that around for myself, but PC Games N.com wrote a really interesting article about it, basically saying what kind of ads are going to work for the esports audience, because you can't have classic beer ads. Those are kind of catering to the people who bullied us all through high school.
I like beer. I'm fine with beer ads.
Yeah, but the internet community is a lot more socially aware, and to have a bunch of misogynistic bros on a beer commercial in the middle of your esports is just going to rub people the wrong way.
So you're saying don't do what Microsoft just did at the Xbox One reveal?
Yes. Yeah. Again, I'm still waiting to see what happens at E3 there, but that was clearly not for us.
Yes. They made it look like the Jock Box.
Yeah. I mean, ESPN, yeah. I can't get that on normal TV.
Okay, continue. Sorry, is that the end of your rant?
That's the end. So, it was successful for Papa John's. I didn't order any pizza because I agree with Total Biscuit. But that's, your own personal preference. I think it's great that companies are looking into esports as a way to advertise. Are cars going to sell in esports? It seems odd, but why not? I mean, and then you have misogynistic beer ads. Would those work? Really? Where's the video games? Energy drinks make sense.
Energy drinks make sense, yeah. Peripherals, obviously, you have your SteelSeries and your Gunner. And obviously PC part manufacturers. But if you're going to bring esports, if you're going to make esports appeal to a larger mass, you also need to get supporters that appeal to a larger mass.
Yes. And Papa John's is doing a big thing by saying, when you think of esports and you want dinner, you will think of Papa John's because they have supported esports in the past. So it's a bold move. Seems to be working out for them. It was definitely a trial run here, so who knows what the future will bring.
It's funny you just talked about the mental link, because every time I see Dr. Pepper now, all I think about is attending MLGs.
Absolutely,
because it's the only damn thing I drink all weekend until we leave MLG and go get beers. Okay, you finally found something I can agree and not just be like, this is stupid. So thank you, Kyle. You've succeeded. You win.
Also, I mean, looking into this, it brought some interesting, the way things are advertised. And I've been thinking, and I haven't quite figured out, but how do you advertise to nerds? Because we move really fast, and we get over things really fast.
Well, I don't think that necessarily. I think they've got enough advertisement for our demographic. I think they're trying to reach a more general audience.
Yeah, true.
So, anyways, going from what is quite possibly the lamest story in a while to stuff I'm really excited to talk about. WCS rages on at a just frantic pace. And Kyle, it's time for, I believe, both of our favorite topic every week after week after week, the GSL. So we had our semifinals this past week. As a matter of fact, we had our last match just last night with Innovation versus Symbol. But before that, we had Sulky versus SOS, which you have a lot to say on.
Oh, man. Well, first of all, these guys are teammates, so things were odd from the get-go. Every single time they open with the same thing. Forge Expo, double Expo for Zerg. So yet you were going for 3 bases there.
Think they practice together much?
It kind of seemed like they didn't want, because each other clearly know their more interesting strategies, so they couldn't do anything but something that looked absolutely standard and maybe like a hidden variance in the background. Yeah,
it's always interesting anytime you get teammates playing against each other, which is something that happens fairly often, especially in GSL, because... well, like we said, I mean, these guys practice together all the time. So talk about meta. I mean, you're so in each other's heads.
Well, and there's only so many teams, and teams practice even across other teams. Some teams are kind of in cahoots with one another. So who knows what everyone has seen outside of looking for replays and other things like that. I'm sure these two guys, gave heavy looks from each other from across the practice room, sizing each other up all week. But Soki goes into this set dominating pretty much all the way up until Game 4, where he gets a little too confident and just plain weird. He over-suicides is the way Artosis called it, and it's absolutely true. And if you're a Zerg player, you damn well know what this feels like. There's an opening in the base, and you're like, ooh, I can run through that hole.
It's so tempting.
It is, and you see them, and they move out, and maybe they're even on your doorstep, and you've got nothing. You've maybe got a pack of roaches and a couple Zerglings, and you're like, wait a minute, that army's there? That means all these Zerglings could be in their base. Go, and you're losing the game horribly, but you're like, yes, I got those Zerglings in. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, it's hard with being a Zerg player, because mentally that's what you're conditioned. You're conditioned to look for openings and you're conditioned to not to lose units when you're trying to get ahead, because the whole thing is your units are cheaper, so they're gonna die.
And you see something expensive like a Thor or Colossus walk out, and you just want to throw everything you have at it.
Now, that, of course, we are now speaking from our mindsets, and we are noobs.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure that's how Sulky's mind works, but obviously he slipped into it a little bit in this game.
Yes. We were on the same wavelength here. But anyway, in Game 1, he does a really cool Hydra Muta build. You should look it up, because actually, to anyone out there who doesn't have a GSL patch, every single first game we talk about is free. You can watch it.
Right.
And you should do that. Because this is a really cool build where he goes Hydras and then Mutas later. And if you're following me, that's a lot of gas. And where the hell did he get this money? I do not know, but it was an awesome build. And naturally caused a bunch of Colossi to come out, which were completely destroyed by the flock of Mutas that flew in later.
Nice.
Same thing he used in Game 2. Big pack of roaches. Oh, instant Mutas.
I'm sure he has it calculated perfectly. Like,
yeah.
I can allot this much gas to make Hydras or roaches to have enough left to make X amount of Mutas.
Game 3, same thing happened. Another Muta surprise in the back. But he just starts... It's got to be hard. The mental games you need to play with yourself, and just oh my god, I'm one game from winning X amount of money and going to X place in the tournament. Oh, all I got to do is just not screw up. Have you ever thought that? You know what you do once you think that? You screw up a lot. You know, if I just don't drop it, crap.
Yeah.
It's like when your mom told when you were 5, do not lose this Rolex. So, I'm sorry, Mom. Still to this day, I can't bring up that story. It's a sore subject.
My dad still gives me hell. It's getting off topic, but this is just a story I feel the need to tell now, because he just recently gave me hell about this. And it has been maybe 5 years since he's given me shit about this particular topic. In the house that we grew up that I grew up in, next to our house was just an empty lot, like dirt and rocks and shit. I had an unhealthy obsession with Indiana Jones as a child.
Well, who didn't?
And I wanted to be an archaeologist when I grew up.
Sure. Well, you didn't know at that time you don't find dinosaurs every time you step outside.
No, and then I also found out later in life that you need to get a lot of vaccinations to go traveling around the world, and I hate needles.
And you gotta use brushes and crap. It's not like extreme.
You're not fighting Nazis. You're not running
Yeah.
away from boulders and
Exactly.
and using whips to save pretty blonde-haired girls who later become Nazis. Anyways, so I'd go next to the lot next door, and my dad had this awesome like pick hammer. And I'm like, that I had seen in paleontology specials on Discovery. So I always use that, and I'd go out there and I'd just start digging, looking for fossils. And I lost this pick hammer, and apparently it was expensive and hard to find, and he still gives me shit to this day about losing it.
There's, like 2 Christmases ago, I was like, remember that time I lost the Rolex? And it was not a joking topic. I mean, we're talking like I was 12, and I'm 25 now.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's funny. It's like you just called your grandmother some kind of terrible name or something at the Thanksgiving table, but no, you just brought up losing a Rolex.
No, but just that little thing in the past. I'm sure, you know, supporting 2 kids and climbing the corporate ladder had nothing to do with it at the time.
Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Ferguson, get over it. It's been like 14 years. Put it behind you.
If this happens to be the episode that they randomly tune into and flip to that certain part in it, because they don't get this show. Like they're like, well, I'm so excited for you, and wow, an audience like that's awesome. I don't get it. Like, cool. And every time, like, if you're in the military, write in, because that's something my dad understands. Like, Dad, we had a guy in the military write in and say he loved the show, and he's like, now that is cool.
That's the same thing with my dad, because he's ex-military. So anytime we get like letters from military men, I'm like, Dad, I got another one.
Run to him with that. At any rate,
I mailed him a StarCast sticker, and he stuck it on a machine gun.
There we go. One in the chat room right now.
All right. Woo.
Call my dad.
Dad.
Mr. Ferguson. They're in my chat.
There you go. That's badass. Anyways, back to WCS, back to Soulkey versus SOS.
Yes, Game 5, you should watch this because Soulkey gets cannon rushed, and it happens to all of us, and you should, take a moment of silence, but also revere in the fact that you're not so bad. It happens to all of us.
And it makes Tasteless really happy.
Yeah.
Every time someone cannon rushes, a Tasteless angel gets his wings.
And Game 7, another Forge and Double Expo. We had a really cool thing happen, though, and I'm super excited about what this could mean for the future. Because we had a really deadly push coming from SOS right up into Soulkey's natural. And there's Colossi, and there's a Immortal or two, and these are the units that are really causing him just huge pain right now because he's pushing with Roaches and Hydras trying to get him back. And he manages to do it by stemming the reinforcements from the Robo by contaminating it with an Overseer. Because there's only one Robo and it was easy to do, but it was so awesome that he actually thought to do this. And I'm really excited because Terran, my God, the Terran should be for the Swarm because I hate when you guys parade push me. I'm like, what? I've tried to make some units here and you just keep coming. This is stupid. Go back to being human and 9-month regeneration cycles. It takes time. I've got eggs and
it's how
bugs.
Terran has been since StarCraft 2's launch, Kyle.
Yeah, and I've always hated it.
And that's why innovation is so scary, because his macro is, I don't know. I think he has hacked the game, and everything he builds is a tech reactor.
Well, he's just perfect. And that's the scary thing about him. It's not some style. It's not Marine King with 1,000 Marines, which you can eventually study for. It's just like, how do I beat someone who's really good at everything? Mm-hmm. And right now, you don't. Maybe in the future. And that's the way DRG, when he first came onto the scene, was. And they figured him out. So who knows what innovation's Achilles heel is. And I'm excited to find out. Hopefully it's Zerg that finds it on him. At any rate, I'm really excited to see maybe even mass contaminate. You got 4 bunkers pushing out Marines in a parade push. Well, what if you pushed all those back and that parade push suddenly stopped because all those bunkers or barracks are contaminated?
That's a good point. I'm not sure if we'll ever see builds based around it, because it always seems like every now and then we see a clutch contaminate, but it always seems to be an event of opportunity.
Yeah, it's more like, oh, I happen to have an Overseer here, and I see you're researching thermal lances. Mm-hmm. Why don't I contaminate that a little bit if I have the time?
Exactly. Because a lot of times versus Zerg, you've got turrets up against mutas, you've got something in your base just in case a drop or a nidus happens. So it's very, very rare that you can get into the heart of a base and get a nice contaminate off. But
yeah.
But they are so freaking cool to see. It's much like when niduses were so rare, and they're still actually pretty rare until we get to our next game with Symbol. But
oh, I love what he does with niduses.
I know, it just was so sad though in this game. Anyways, I called Soulkey over this, so I'm happy I called it right. But damn, it was close.
It went to the final game when it looked like in the beginning that Soulkey was just going to take the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool stuff. Highly recommend that game. And of course, the game I was waiting for all week. We had Innovation and Symbol face off just last night for the other semifinal. These are both best of sevens, by the way. I don't know what else to say about Innovation that we didn't just say. He plays perfect.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's very, very weird.
It did go a surprising number of games, though, actually.
It did. And the games he did lose were all to bailing busts.
Yep.
It's just like,
cheesy little maneuvers.
Yeah. I was just like, dude, wall with some barracks or something. like, switch it up a little bit.
I mean, at that point, when you've just taken the first 3 games pretty much for free, I don't think you're too concerned about losing a game to some cheese. It happens again in a row, which is odd, but he could possibly do it a 3rd time, right?
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It was interesting because the first 3 games where Innovation won handily, we saw a lot of this biomine play. Which is really, I love it. It's really interesting to watch. The thing I like about innovation, and he always is just like, and 2 tanks, just like 2 tanks, just a little bit of a garnish to keep the banelings at bay.
Oh, it's so. The lack of tanks is disturbing.
Yes,
and
but
so many Terran. Like, we could have an entire Final Four full of Terrans if they just made a couple tanks. Like, we were seeing roaches in ZVT. If you told me that 6 months ago, that would have been completely bonkers. Even more so if you told me there were going to be Hydras in ZVT.
Right, but innovation adapts very beautifully, because in the final game, Game 6, where innovation took the series, we saw the roaches from Symbol, and innovation's like, you know what? I'm busting out Wings of Liberty. I've got like 7 tanks, pushing with bio. He made hardly any mines up until the end, where Symbol was starting to transition out of roaches. Then he started transitioning back into mines. It was awesome. It's so awesome to see. He's so versatile. He plays so goddamn well.
There was a really cool tidbit to take away from Game 1 here, and that's that if you get mine dropped in your base, a Spore Crawler actually builds slightly quicker than a mine can recharge.
Yeah. I love it when Tastosis cast, because you always learn some fun little tidbit. Like, SC2 quote of the day, if you're listening, you need to start a new Twitter account that's just like, today I learned from Tastosis. Or something like that. Tastosis taught me. Yeah. That's totally, like, I usually skip straight to the game. I usually, like, don't watch a lot of the banter before the game.
Oh, I love that. I always watch that stuff.
Yeah, but I watched it this week, and I should probably start watching it more, because there's so many juicy tidbits of knowledge that they drop pre-game. They still show all the bars and graphs and I would say almost arguably useless statistics.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than it used to be.
Yeah.
We've got an email later in the show that I'll talk about the way things used to be then.
Yeah, it's funny stuff. So, but yeah, freaking innovation, man. He's gonna win this. I think he's gonna win this handily.
You know what? It's looking that way because of the way Solkey got flummoxed by playing his own teammate. With a week in between, though, we'll see what kind of things Solkey brings to the table. But right now, it's looking pretty one-sided.
Yeah. I will be really surprised, and it'll be hell of an upset if Solkey wins GSL, because freaking innovation, man. Scary stuff. WCS Europe, again, I take my time to watch WCS Korea, and every time I'm like, okay, well, shit, I don't have time to watch WCS Europe. I guess I'll just read up on what's happened. And there's always a crazy upset or a storyline that just blows my mind. And this week was no different, because Grubby beat MC and didn't drop a game.
Nope. And that's a feat, because I feel like of all the matchups, the mirror matchups especially, I mean, Terran, that's tough. Because Terran is definitely the most chess-like in a TVT, but PvP, man, that's so cutthroat. I feel like ZVZ has some random elements to it, but, I mean, it comes down to, like, Blink Stalker micro and what you chose to get when. It's wacky.
I have to divert the show for just a moment, because Zatamoon in the chat room just gave us the best example of a GSL stat ever. If you build roaches on a Tuesday when there is a northerly wind, you have a 34% chance of eating waffles in the next week.
That's pretty damn true.
You win. You win the internet, sir. Congratulations.
It seems this guy hasn't lost a game since he's never
played this matchup on this map. He has a 100% win rate.
I'm glad they're giving us that, though, because they used to give the poor casters nothing going in.
Oh, yeah, no, it's great. It's gotten a lot better, so. Anyways, back to WCS Europe. I'm sorry, I kind of derailed you there.
Oh, that's all I had to say.
Okay, yeah, we got a link to the VOD in the chat room. Go check it out. Congrats, Grubby, man. I'm a big Grubby fan, so. And I've come around on MC. If you listen to the early days of StarCast, I was so sick of seeing him win. but I'll root for MC. But still, glad to see Grubby win.
I mean, if there was anyone who was gonna take up like the top 4 spots in like WrestleMania StarCraft edition, MC would be one of those. I mean, he would be like our Undertaker.
the guy that just one of those super famous guys with a personality you can't forget.
Yeah, like a painted face and some fireworks. He'd do it all. And that's why you gotta love the man.
Oh my God! Somebody please Photoshop MC Undertaker. WCS America is still going on. We had Group C last night. Group D is going on right now, actually.
This was so funny to watch too because everyone's like, I just don't WCS America, but they're foreigners in a foreigner.
Well,
server,
wait, we still have Suppy. Never mind.
Nope.
Wait, we still have Scarlett. She's from Canada. Never mind.
Now, if you're going to go back and watch one ZVZ ever for your entire life, actually, you may want to check out that last finals because it was just ridiculous at the GSL with the Broodlords attacking Broodlords. But if you get to watch 2, I would say check out Scarlet versus Revival because this has to be the classiest ZVZ I've ever seen. Every single match, they denied each other an early rush. So it went into late game. One of these late games was Mass Ultralisk from Scarlet versus Infestor Roach. And it was awesome to see these new Ultralisks at work, man. Tore through the roaches.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
It was also a showcase of what the new Sport Crawler does, which is destroys Mutalisk and anything else in the air that Zerg can make. Oh my goodness. Put one of these right on top, put a Sport Crawler right on top of your Swarm host. You're never going to get hit by anything in the air, and you're going to kill that damn Overseer that comes by because that thing dies just as fast. There was no scouting being done by anything in the air.
Damn. Wow. Chat room saying the last game was kind of meh. Sadly.
Yeah.
That's always strange when you get like such a crazy good game and then you just kick on.
Well, it was because Scarlet overcommitted. And it's always one of those like, oh, you didn't have to. I mean, you were kind of ahead, but damn it. And you can't produce units that fast. And that's one of the things about ZVZ. I mean, you screw up, it's over because everything's so fast. It's already in your base.
Yeah.
The chat room last night was acceptable. I
turned chat off every time I watch a live tournament.
I'm about 50-50 here. Because, oh man, who's the girl? Oh, she's hot. And then, you had about 25% insulting her hair, which I couldn't understand for the life of me. Because if you know how many nerds care about their hair? Probably the only one I know is sitting across from me on this webcast.
Somebody posted on Reddit, I think it was last week, that they tune in every week to our show just to see what my hair looks like. And thank you, because I started crying with laughter. And now my girlfriend has a hell of a piece of ammo anytime she wants to make fun of me.
It's like, why would you? Clearly, gamers and someone in an esports event have more going through their head than what their hair looks like on this particular day.
You are aware that they're just trolls, right?
I know, and
they're just being dicks for the sake of being dicks.
And I assume that the majority of these people probably doing their homework in the background, probably pretty young.
Yeah.
And being, oh man, there's a chick playing video games, that's awesome. The other half are trying to correct that guy, being like, oh, don't you know about Scarlet? Oh my God. Who cares? Playing some awesome games right in front of us. I have been very proud of this community in the past. It has not changed because of that. I think it's awesome that we have accepted Scarlet for who she is and allowed her to continue play unhassled.
Yeah, it shouldn't be it shouldn't be a thing.
No,
it doesn't matter, and I don't know why people still bring it up.
Oh, I mean, it's an interesting tidbit at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
It's gossip, and gossip is always going to spread like wildfire. The good news is no one's committing any hate crimes about it. And I'm proud of the SC community for that.
All right. Well, good on you guys.
But Revival advances, and Suppy, well, both are on EG, but, Suppy, our foreign hope, as it were, gets absolutely crushed, man. And he was devastated. It was sad to see. You gotta love Suppy, and Revival destroyed him.
Yeah. Sad freaking stuff.
Another note we didn't talk about during the Korea GSL is that, get this, Leonok and Gumiho were not able to get back into Code S. That's
Really?
what Code S is like these days.
Dear God.
I know. They're going to their up and down matches. They could end up in Code A or even deeper.
Jeez. What is happening?
Well,
All these freaking Kespa players, man. They have come in and done exactly what we said they wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that...
That's insane.
It's an end of an era, again, but maybe they'll just move to a different server for WCS.
This was a positive chat, Kyle. This was a positive talk about just good games, and you're baiting me into a rant again, aren't you?
Leonok and Gumiho to America.
God help us all. For some reason, I just thought of the end of Independence Day. They're going to have to get a bunch of random dudes to fly jets into Gumiho and Leonok's blast core right when they're about to fire to have any chance of America reclaiming victory.
First of all, I don't know how I lost sleep over that movie because I was scared. I clearly was too young, I guess.
The scene where in Area 51 where they've got the dude up against the glass, that scene freaked me out for a long time.
That's what I lost sleep about, the no peace.
Yeah.
The rest of that movie and the...
Die.
Yeah, the whole, hello, boys, I'm back, and the crop duster flying he wins the day thanks to a Mac virus. It's just ridiculous.
It's a bad plot.
I've got to get me one of these.
I still love that movie, though. I don't care. There's nothing you can say that will dissuade me from every time I'm flipping channels and I see Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum stopping everything I'm doing and watching it.
It'll still be President Spaceballs to me.
Yeah. Oh, wow, yeah. I never thought of that. But you're absolutely correct. Okay. Love that movie. We got some emails because we're nearing the end of the show. Chat room, if you have questions for us, ask them now. Lithian writes in, however. You can send emails to starcastshow@gmail.com. And Lithian writes, you guys are awesome. Well, thank you.
You're awesome.
Exclamation point. I'm wanting to watch my first ever Pro StarCraft 2 match, but I want to start off right. So my question to each of you is, what is your favorite match of all time to watch?
Ooh, man.
That's a tall order.
I know. And particularly tall because we really haven't had a good representation yet of what Heart of the Swarm can be. So a lot of what I'm going to pull from is way in the past. Also because this is going to make it free for you. I mean, if it's your first esports match, you're probably not paying for GSL right now.
Yeah. God, that's rough. The immediate first thing that popped in my head was, I don't even remember what game this was. Was this, or what tournament? Was this MLG Orlando? Whatever game it was, where Marine King, it was on Metalopolis, and the very first thing he does is lifts off, he lifts his main and goes to the gold base.
Yep.
And then floods Hellions. I believe this was against Hey-Pro, if memory serves.
Oh, it was that map with the pit in the middle and the gold.
It was Metalopolis.
Yeah, oh yeah, that
Before
did
they
have
removed
gold. That's right.
Bases. Yeah. You see, he, very beginning of the game, they spawn close positions. He lifts off his main command center, lands on the gold, never gets spotted, capitalizes on this, and wins with nothing but the most absurd amount of Hellions.
Well, that's just silly. I mean, this guy's going to sit down for his very first esports match, and I don't want to watch something silly. He needs to see something epic, and you didn't put your race here, so first of all, if I knew your race, I'd pick one with it in it. Mm-hmm. But if you're just going to watch your and show off your very first esports match, you need to watch a TVZ, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's...
yeah. my other favorite, and I can't remember who it was. It was Boxer and someone, but it was that epic Sky Terran versus Terran map. I believe that was also MLG Orlando. It was just battlecruisers and Vikings versus battlecruisers and Vikings, and it was just the most absurd amount of volley of missiles you've ever seen.
Yes.
Oh, why can't I remember? In the chat room, if you can remember who the hell Boxer was playing, I will love you forever.
Well, if you want to catch some free games anyway, you can catch the entire finals of Life vs. Flash. That is the most recent finals that we've had from MLG right after the game's release. It's pretty good. There's some oddities in there because the game did just come out, but you'll be able to see some Heart of the Swarm units. Otherwise, you're going back to 2012. And Team Liquid actually did a really great write-up of all the different matches that were the best of 2012. And I would have to agree with their number one, and you probably remember this one as well, Garrett. Gumiho versus Slayers MMA. The finals that took place on the beach.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one to watch.
Yes, this was right after Gumiho did the all-kill on an entire team.
Yeah.
And then he went up for his finals, I think the next day or maybe even the same day. But this is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really freaking good.
It's going to be only the first match for you if you're paying for it, but still a good one. And then I went through all the matches that have happened, looking for only the first game, because that's what you could watch for free here. And there's a really good PvP that happens between MC and Flying on April 7th, or 9th here. So check out that first game, because that's a great one. I mean, you got Archons with Tempest in the background, and it's just a good time.
Yeah. Chat room is my savior. It was Boxer versus Rain from the 2011 MLG Anaheim. If you, and I'm Googling it right now, if you just type in Boxer, Rain, MLG Anaheim, you will find the VOD for it. One of the most cinematic battles ever. Just so much shit in the air. Seeker missiles going off, battle cruisers with... I don't even know, man. It's like he had like what you would imagine a biocomposition. Like he had the amount of Vikings that would be equivalent to Marines, the amount of battle cruisers that would be equivalent to like Marauders, and then Ravens on top of that. It was ridiculous.
What map was that? I don't think we see it anymore. There was a lot of weird open spaces that kind of crawled in through the sides.
I'm trying.
Which caused that air battle to happen.
Yeah.
After the endless tank sieges.
Man, I don't know. Was it Metalopolis? Was it really Metalopolis? Yeah.
There was a lot of room in Metalopolis.
Yes, this was Metalopolis. Okay.
TVT on Metalopolis, man.
God, this is just insane. Just like what the what? All right. So there you go. There's some good stuff. And if you want current stuff, anything with innovation from the season of GSL has been just stellar.
Yeah, you're gonna have plenty of time to catch free matches this weekend, but those will be in our show notes there. You can catch them on our website, as well as well, I just got to mention here that this list from the greatest games of 2012, when you flip through, they have 40 games listed here. Every single one of the Zerg ones, Broodlords. Broodlords in the air. More Broodlords in the air. Broodlords? Turtling Zerg. Broodlords.
No Infestors for 2012.
Oh, piles and piles of them. But
okay.
Everyone where the Zerg is said to be winning, it's piles of Broodlords.
Gotcha.
Oh, how the times have changed. And also, man, you go back, like I was looking for free games, so I ended up, for some reason, ending up at the very first, the BlizzCon finals. And like Day 9's wearing just like some random ass t-shirt.
Yep.
Artosis is sitting there with like a hoodie, but the hood's like
they're
half over his shoulder.
They're standing at a desk for one.
They have those like the call waiting center like headsets on. And the screen, I mean, even the old interface right now looks drab and hobo-ish compared to what we're doing already in Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah, it's so funny. I went to that BlizzCon, which was the first BlizzCon after the release of Wings of Liberty. It is ridiculous how far the scene has come, because we had the StarCraft area, which was big, but then they had like the player pit, which was just this little corner. They were just up against the corner to the side of the stage, and like no security. Like you could reach out and poke like Huck as he was doing his off main stage games, and it was ridiculous because I just walked up and like Tasteless is just standing there. I'm like, hey dude, how you doing? And it's the first time I ever met the guys. We were just like shooting the shit, and it was really cool. And I have so many pictures from this. I love it. I have pictures with like, because at the time I was just like a super fan. I'm like, oh my god, I met Tasteless. But that will never happen again.
No,
ever. It's impossible. Like you go to an MLG, and if Tasteless and Artosis are there, and they walk out on the floor, they get flooded. It's like NSYNC or something. Like, or what's a more One Direction? There's a more horrifying recent analogy. It's insane, man. It's ridiculous.
And it was real funny to see Day 9 casting this game. Clearly everything's looking really elementary. Watching Fruit Dealer play his first big finals, and they're like, I don't know if Fruit Dealer can deal with one cloaked Banshee. Yeah.
Oh, that was the show match. That was Fruit Dealer versus Boxer.
I haven't seen a cloaked Banshee in what feels like 6 months.
Oh, yeah, because he had just won the GSL, and so it was a show match between Fruit Dealer and Boxer. But, yeah, man, it's good stuff. So go check those games out. Another email from Squavy who says, Dear StarCast, a thought occurred to me the other day while watching some Wings of Liberty streams waiting for HOTS to release. Other day? How old is this email?
Where did you pull this from?
I don't know, but he says, the streamer I was watching was asked by chat if he considers himself a professional gamer. He modestly replied that he did not think of himself as a pro, merely someone who streams StarCraft. Why wouldn't he be considered a pro, though? Streaming StarCraft 2 is his full-time job. It's how he earns a living. Although he is not a Grandmaster-level player or going about winning tournaments left and right, I still consider players like him professionals. Take In Control, for example. Nobody in the right mind would argue that he is not a professional StarCraft 2 player, even though his tournament results have been lacking throughout Wings of Liberty. He is not a top-level pro, but a pro nonetheless. Jeff and other players like him are professional players, at least by my definition, meaning it is their job to play StarCraft 2. Whether that is winning tournament prize money or ad revenue. However, some people look down on these less winning professional players, sometimes not even considering them pros at all. There are many professional players who win their money, build a fan base, and thrive off of StarCraft 2. That is what being a professional is, in my opinion. So he wants to bring up the discussion topic of the definition of a pro player. And I would say you're just arguing it's just semantics at this point.
Yeah, well, In Control's a good example as to what we define.
He is no longer a pro player.
No. He's a personality.
I can say, to me, a pro player is someone who's on a team, and what they are paid to do is to train to win tournaments, whether they win them or not.
Mm-hmm.
In Control now is more like he helps manage. He's the player manager, and he is the figurehead for the team. He does all of the hyping, and he's their voice essentially. And that's what he's paid to do now. He used to be a pro player. His focus was training and winning tournaments, even during Brood War. So
there's also the team dynamic that you have to take into account. Like some guys have been on teams for a really long time, but they never win anything, and you're like, what is he doing there? He's probably got a really interesting play style that's really important to that team's practice regime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another good point.
Or he might just have the work ethic to train with guys who are pro players all day long.
Yeah. Sorry.
Speaking of which, we didn't mention this, but Idra got picked up by EMG.
Yes. I may or may not have known about that for a while now and forgot it was news. I completely forgot about it. You're absolutely right. Yes.
Which is cool. If you've been watching Meta, Artosis' new show, Idra does a great job on there, and it's real cool to see him chilled out.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what kind of things he can bring as a personality. Certainly, the amount of knowledge he will have as to what's going on in a player's head is going to be very valuable. It might diminish with time, and he may become less valuable with time. Who knows?
I'm not putting words in the guy's mouth, but he seems happy.
Yes,
like, far happier
I would have to agree.
than we've seen him as of late. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm digging meta, man.
Well, it's basically like GSL after hours.
Yep, which is my favorite tournament. So more content is good for me.
It is welcome.
Yeah, that's good stuff. See, chat room had some questions. Pedriz says, today I read an old post on Team Liquid about the great old names from StarCraft 2 were code A from Brood War. Is that true? Still great names that's still in Brood. I'm not sure what he's asking.
He asked earlier what the up and downs were, so I think he's still getting into esports, and there was a big transition from people who played Brood War, and most recently, Kespa finally picked up SC2 and has completely moved over.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's actually they just had their 1 year anniversary from switching over to StarCraft 2.
That's true, and isn't it? I have such respect for Flash because when he got up at the Kespa show matches when they first made the switch a full year ago now at Columbus, Ohio, he said, "Hi, I hope to one day be your champion." And I was like, "Dude, bravo, man!"
That wasn't Columbus. That was the one afterwards, wasn't it?
No, that was Columbus.
Was it?
What? Yeah, it was Columbus.
I'm pretty sure it was the tournament after Columbus.
The Kespa show match. No, we were there live for those.
We were?
Yeah, remember we got stuck. We were sitting there forever because they were having some difficulty getting going and just ran super late.
Oh, okay. God, how would I forget that? I know, because MKP won that tournament, and that was the highlight of my weekend. I'm pretty sure it was the next one. Anyway, whatever.
I may be wrong.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know. I've been having an issue now where like all my happy memories from like 10 years, I've just been inserting Kristen in them. Like,
yeah, Great Fire in the chat room saying, I was at Columbus and Flash was not there.
Which one was that?
I Smoking Rocks. It was the one immediately after that we did not go to.
I could have sworn I must have watched it live then, maybe at a BarCraft or something, because I know I was surrounded by people, and it took forever to start, and Flash was there.
You must have been at a BarCraft.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You're smoking rocks, dude.
That just every time I hear that phrase, I just think of that man I met in a summer in Boston who
smoked rocks.
Who staggered out of an alleyway and said, hey, listen, kid, you get a rock and you see a rock. And when you see that rock, you smoke that rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, did this little dance next to me and then wandered off. It was like the first bus ride I'd ever been on.
Oh, my God.
It was horrifying.
Oh, that's amazing.
He was like wearing a garbage man jumpsuit.
Don't ever stop being you, Kyle, please. Never stop being you. I'd say that does it for an episode of StarCast. Next week, we will be having DJ Wheat on, so head on over to the starcast.com/forum and leave a question for him, or leave it in our, we have a thread on Team Liquid, just search for StarCast, and you'll see the official StarCast thread. Leave a question in there, or email it, or whatever, or tune in live.
You're right, it was Anaheim. It was Anaheim Spring Championship.
Ha ha, you're a crazy nutbag.
Ah, damn, I must have been at a BarCraft, because I could have sworn I saw that live.
There's no way I would have forgotten that, because I remember watching Clutch with his obscenely awesome player intros.
Oh, that's right, and I remember how hard he practiced to get all those names right before he had to do it.
Yeah, because we had him on right before that.
That's right. I was at Wingcraft. Yeah. I was there.
Yep. Go Clutch.
Well, that just goes to show, man. There's going to be some BarCrafts this weekend, and it's in memory, it's just as good as being there live.
BarCrafts are very fun. Make sure you support your local BarCraft.
We have
BarCraft Tampa
this year.
Woo! Although we haven't had one this year either.
None in Chicago.
Well, go support Tampa BarCraft, so they'll have another one.
Well, Blizzard just put out their list. I'm sure Tampa's on here. No, Tampa is not.
Well, we haven't had one this year, so I'm not sure what's going on. So, anyways, that does it for this week. Big thanks to all of you who left us 5-star reviews in the iTunes store. Leaving us reviews is the best way to help the show for free. It really is helps us out a bunch. So, Big Town Clown left us a review this week and said that the chemistry between the hosts is really something special.
The clown is in town.
I've been marathoning Scrubs on Netflix. and you're like my Turk, but you're white, so I can't call you Brown Bear.
Call me White Bear.
That doesn't work.
Nah.
I have a friend who I call Brown Bear. So
Well, at some point, we've been doing the show for almost 3 years. Maybe when we reach 5, we'll have pet names for each other.
I would be all right if we never got to that level. Welcome back to StarCast episode 306. This is Pookie, and I'm Sugar Buns.
Oh, Sugar Buns.
I don't know.
Can I just call you Sainty or something?
Let's not, and say we didn't.
All right.
You're getting married soon, dude. You need to get over me. That ship has sailed.
I can't quit you.
And on that note, StarCast is a production of amove.tv. Make sure you go on over there and bookmark that page, because you can find this and many other awesome shows like This Week in Blizz and our new show, The Campaign Roundtable, which just 2 days ago recorded our first part of our 3-week long coverage of the BioShock Infinite story.
And what a story it is.
I was more excited for these 3 episodes than any other game that we're doing this season. So tune in and send emails. We want to really start talking with our audience about the games, get their opinions of the story and whatnot. So go check out the Campaign Roundtable.
Yeah, and we play it very episodically. It's book club style, so there is a fine cutoff as to what spoilers we have each episode. So even if you're like halfway through, you won't even know, but you'll be like, oh, I don't know what the tower is, and I don't know why it fell. Maybe I shouldn't listen.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's good stuff. TheStarCast.com. Make sure you put the in there. Is the place to go for our forum, our archives, t-shirts at /loot.com, and there's a direct link on thestarcast.com as well, and plenty more. Go pick up a t-shirt. They're brand new over at /loot. New designs. The print is a much higher quality, and I love mine. It's currently dirtier. I would have worn it today, but I love it so much I just wear it all the time.
Well, that's the problem with your favorite shirts, man. You always wear them as soon as the wash is done, and then Thursday, Friday, you got nothing good.
Yeah.
I don't want to wear that.
Yeah. We're live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on twitch.tv/TheHandsomeNerd. All of our VODs are available on youtube.com/StarCast Show, and you can get our podcast on the Frog Pants Studios Ultra feed over at frogpants.com. Email us at starcastshow@gmail.com. You can call the StarCast line and leave us a voicemail at 941-882-0281. We will put the calls on the show if they are short. Keep them sweet. Try and keep them under 90 seconds. They will always get preference over emails. You can follow us on StarCast on Twitter, which is at the StarCast. You can follow me at Garrett Art. Kyle is at Kyle Ferguson. And big thanks to Octane Pro and Captain Newbing, our production crew. Go on over to nomoonart.com for my design work. I do a lot of Twitch stream design stuff. I do a lot of game overlays. So if you are in the need of fancy new graphics, I am always available for freelance. Kyle, where can people find you?
You can find me at my 4th show, Biggest Fan Podcast, where we followed the fad that's driving mad. And last night we had a fine time doing Star Trek, the original series. For the end, I took pro Spock. He took pro Kirk. I, of course, think I'm right because Spock is way more awesome than Kirk. But you couldn't have one without the other, naturally. So had a great time over there. The site still doesn't work in Google Chrome for some reason. So grab it in Firefox, or if you really want to, you can grab it in Internet Explorer. But that back catalog of that show, always full of great topics. Every single one holds up. And this next week, we're doing Daft Punk.
Harder, faster, stronger, something, fix it.
Weirder, too, because their new album is completely bonkers.
Is it?
Sounds nothing like their old stuff.
Oh, okay. I recently grabbed the new Fall Out Boy album, and it's the same thing. It's very different from the Fall Out Boy I grew up listening to.
Which is cool. It's cool that they can keep redefining themselves. I mean, the original Daft Punk CD, 12 songs, probably 3 good ones.
Oh, okay. I was never really that big into them. The only album of Daft Punk that I have listened to at length is the Tron soundtrack.
Which is good, but it's
amazing.
Very Daft Punky.
It's amazing, and the remix version I actually like better. So, yeah, music, man. It'd be fun. If you ever just do like biggest fan music in general, I want to come on just so I can school you because I know you're not like the world's biggest music fan, and I love giving you shit about it.
No, and anytime someone wants to throw down with music, I'm like, oh yeah, well, Octopus Project, I love that stuff. And they're like, what? Oh, like Black Ball Super Rainbow. What? Rat-a-tat? Oh, I think I've heard of them.
I love Rat-a-tat. I really do like Rat-a-tat.
Yeah.
I don't get behind a lot of electronica because I like live bands. So I love Rat-a-tat because these two crazy assholes get up on stage and just make the craziest loops you've ever heard with real instruments.
Yeah, they're wacky. I have a hard time with music with words because more often than not, the lead singer ruins a song.
Dragon Force is a good example of that.
Yeah,
Amazing musicians. I hate their singer.
Yeah, Dragon Force is pretty bad. But I have this odd tradition while I'm at work on Fridays. I listen to hair metal all day. Keeps me going.
Well, you listen to like Rat and like Whitesnake?
No. I like Dragon Force-y kind of stuff.
Like more modern.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Force in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. I'll let that
like
slide.
Master Plan.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. So, on that note, through the fire and the flames we carry on. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, StarCastSystems.com. You can use our code StarCast. That code will get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. It's what I play everything on, unless it's Halo. Then I'm forced to dust off my dying Xbox. That sounds like a aircraft taking off. But when that's not the case, I play it on my Doghouse system. I love it to death, and anytime I do something stupid, because the thing has never had a problem that has been its fault. It's always my fault. And I call the guys up at Doghouse, and they fix it within like 2 seconds. Their customer service is amazing. So if you're in the market for a new rig, check out DoghouseSystems.com. Use our code StarCast. Get double memory for free. And support our show directly in the process. That same code, StarCast, will get you 30% off and free shipping on your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds from tweakedaudio.com. Both Kyle and I have a couple pairs at this point, I think, and we love ours to death. Right, Kyle? Back me up here.
I'm sorry. Someone in the chat room asked me if I believe in a thing called love, which I do. I just listen to it.
And a chance to make it now.
Giant squid, lasers.
I still remember how to play that on guitar. There's a few songs on guitar that I will never forget how to play. So that's one of them. Anyways, back to tweakedaudio.com.
Yes, Tweaked Audio. Gotta love them.
Amazing earbuds. Pick them up. And SC2quoteoftheday.com, our third and final sponsor. Check them out. Make sure you get their app. It's the latest, newest, greatest thing to get your quotes of the day from SC2 Quote of the Day. Just search QOTD on the iOS App Store. And the Android one will be up soon. So we thank them all for their support. We will see you all next week. We hope you enjoyed our high-pitched voices attempting to do a darkness cover. And we will see you next week with DJ Wheat.
Take care. No, DJ Week, that's the echo. Super excited.